Welcome back to Wargroove, everyone. We're here with Act 4, Side 2, Halcyon Days. Okay, so before we get into this, I need to air out my grievances about this mission. I do not think this is a well-designed mission or well-balanced mission in the slightest. So, the first problem we have is, of course, we've seen the enemy outnumbers us by quite a bit. And not only do they outnumber us, the amount of unit types that hard counter ours are apparent. They have 3 dogs, they have 3 mages, they have 2 archers, they have 2 knights, they have 2 harpies. We have 2 harpies, 1 knight, 1 archer, 2 mages, 2 dogs, 2 swordsmen, and 2 pikes. This by no means is a balanced army. So, on top of that, we also have we're trapped in a very narrow section of this map. We cannot go to the top, we cannot expand the fight anywhere else. Making it worse still is, when we look at our S rank requirement, it's 7 turns, which means we have to pull off an extreme miracle in order to get Emmerich where we want him to, because we can't afford to just fight through his army. Even worser still is the fact that we have these villages up at the top that do not generate income for us, so we can't even use continuous mage heals. I do not like this mission in the slightest, but I am going to show you a method of actually hopefully completing it with S rank and 0 casualties. The problem with it is it's just random, and you're going to have to replay it and retry it multiple times on your end in order for you to get the same conclusion. So, we're going to move Tenri in this space here. We're going to move this Tengu in this space here. This mage is going to move to this space. This Tengu is going to move to this space. And we're going to in-turn. And the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to in-turn. We have to basically let the enemy come to us before we can attempt to try and encircle Emmerich in this position here. We're just going to in-turn. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move these archers forward and attack these knights. The next thing we're going to do is move Tenri forward and attack the knights as well.
A cold wind blows.
Another thing to note is the fact that the archer and Tenri actually have a chance of not being able to kill this knight. And if that happens, there's not really a lot that you can do. I mean, there's a chance you still could do this, even with one knight being alive. But it's uncertain because you can't really tell what the enemy is going to do. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to move this dog here. The reason we're going to move this dog here is in order to keep the enemy on this road in a straight line here. So that way we can come and flank with this mage. Anyone who stands here, here, and here, and completely encircle Emmerich after he chooses to move in this position to attack Tenri. The next thing we're going to do is move this Tengu here and attack the knight. Then we're going to move this Tengu right beside it. We're going to move this dog at the edge of this wall. We're going to keep this knight in place. We're going to advance forward with our spearmen and our swordsmen. And we're going to advance with the mage, and we're going to end our turn. This is pretty much this is basically the opening strategy that you're going to continuously retry. You always want your forces to be just like this, and from here on it's up to chance, it's up to random whether what the computer does. So we're going to in-turn.
wind blows.
Emmerich comes in for an attack on Tinnery.
Spell for this.
A cold wind blows.
Okay, so what we're gonna do now is, this is a pretty interesting combination. Like, this can be multiple different things. So it could be the dogs here, it could be both these mages going for a heal, and again, there's no yeah, you can't really judge what the enemy is gonna do. It's random. So we're gonna move these mages forward to attack. We're actually going to move these dogs to the side, and we're going to use this swordsman to crit. These swordsmen are going to come in, and they're going to finish off these mages. These tangles are going to come up north, and they're going to finish off these knights. These harpies are going to come down and they're going to attack the dogs. And this dog is going to come to the side and attack this dog. This mage is going to come down and throw a heal on Tinnery. Okay, so now here's another thing that's going to be required on luck. We're going to use an archer crit, a spearman crit,
Lightning blast.
Tinnery's going to come in for an attack on the side.
A storm approaches.
Lightning blast.
And finally, this knight's crit. As you can see with the damage range, this is random.
I was foolish.
So, with that being said, I'm gonna wrap this up. This mission, I think, is one of the least play tested of the entire Wargroove, original Wargroove campaign, because despite having a solid strategy, there's a chance that will not work because of just how the luck damage works and how the enemy can move in so many different ways. This mission is too confined. They have so many units, you don't have enough to actually comfortably deal with them or comfortably set up a good strategy. So, the thing is, though, we've been dealing with some of these issues in the past, like with earlier missions. Like with missions like Making Friends, that was a very short map where the enemy outnumbered us. The S rank requirement was at least a little bit more lenient. We had missions like An Old Friend. Again, that one was sort of luck based, but ultimately the S rank requirement was pretty lenient. This one's S rank requirement is not lenient at all, and so it's one of the lesser missions in my opinion. It's one of the worst ones in the game. They didn't play test it, because if they did, they would have either given you more forces or a more lenient S rank requirement. But that's all from me. I'm gonna leave now. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.